So yeah, for those of you that haven't come before, there's no pressure to speak, but if you want to speak, you can do. There'll be times where I just kind of reach out and get your thoughts on things. If you want to shout out, it's always good to kind of interact. And then there'll be little times where we just dip into the booklets and you can write down things that are personal to you. So everything that we go through is individual. So you'll find that you'll have your own perceptions on things, and that's completely cool. So you've just got to kind of really think about your own reasons why you want to do certain things in terms of your health and fitness, and just kind of personalize it to you. So we'll go through all the different methods and things, but yeah, today is basically around thinking about this year and what you want to get out of this year, because generally we can all think that we want to get healthier and fitter, but it's kind of like a big vague kind of goal that just kind of drifts around. And although it's something that we're working towards, we need to kind of narrow it down a bit and think about the emotional reasons why, because that helps us stay on track longer. Because we can get all the motivation at the start of a journey, or through the first 6 months, 12 months maybe, and then we can drift and we can get bored of certain things, or we can lose track of progress, or we can feel like we're plateauing in certain ways. So we need to go back to why we're doing it from the start, and why it really matters. So we'll kind of go into that. So most people don't fail because they're lazy. So if you think you're lazy, it's not generally that reason. They fail because their goal just doesn't have enough emotional fuel to survive a stressful day. So we're all busy, we've all got stress, we've all got things going on in our lives, and that kind of overshadows everything a little bit sometimes. So we need to go back to the kind of emotional reasons why we're kind of doing this and why we're looking after ourselves. Because if you can tap into that emotional reason, it's going to make it a lot easier to stay on track and actually do the things that you need to do. So just have a little think. You can shout out if you want, but if 2025 was a word, what word was it for you? You can let me know if you want, or you can just think in your heads. Shit. Yeah?
Successful, I felt.
Successful, okay. A bit contrasting ones there, but that's all good. Yeah? Transformative, nice. Okay. So, what word do you want 2026 to be?
2 words, not shit.
Yeah. That's a good flip, isn't it? Yeah.
Yours was a really good one. I'll say transformative.
There you go, yeah. Anything else?
Masterful came to mind.
Masterful, okay. What does that mean for you?
Mastering it, actually getting good that you can't fail.
Yeah, nice, I like that. Cool. So yeah, just think about that, because we want to, think about the bad things potentially that happened in 2025, the good things, how we can, mitigate the bad and start to improve on the good stuff, and the reasons why that happened as well. So, bit of an interesting thought, your goals aren't about what you want to do, even though it seems like it. They're about what you want to stop feeling sometimes. So if you want to stop feeling like you're unfit and you're out of breath when you walk to the shops or whatever, that's a feeling that you want to stop. If it's, I want to stop feeling bad in my clothes, I want to wear things that are, more comfortable, that I can, show off to my friends or whatever. If we can think about the feeling and the kind of feelings that we want to stop, then we can, go into the emotional state of kind of, really why we're doing it. So there are 3 layers of a goal that I want to work towards, okay? So most people just focus on surface goals. So whenever I speak to anybody that joins initially, it's going to be one of these things that, that they say. I want to lose weight, I want to go to the gym more, I want to eat better, I want to get fitter, I want to become healthier. And yeah, that's what we want to do, but it is quite surface level. There's no real deep meaning towards that. So lasting goals, and this is why I'm talking about long term, so really thinking over the next 5, 10, 20 years of your life, the outcome goal, what do you want? So that's the first step. And then we've got identity goal. So if you've, Angela and Fajr, you've been to the other ones, we've talked a lot about identity and how we need to improve our identity. That's the second part. Who do you want to become? You know, who is the person that you want to start developing into in the future? And then a meaning goal. So why does it matter emotionally to you? So what are the real deep emotional reasons why you want to do something? So if we can put all them three together, so outcome goal, what you want to do, identity goal, who do you want to become, and then meaning goal, why does it matter to me emotionally, then that's like a really solid foundation for you to work towards in the future. So go to page 1 in your books. We're going to peel the onion back on yourselves, okay? So I want you to write down, in 2026, I want to, and just think of the first kind of big thing that fits into your head. And then I want you to ask 3 times, so this is the important part about goal setting and going deeper into it. Why does that matter? And then I want you to ask, and why does that matter? And then I want you to ask it again, and why does that matter? So the example for that is, I want to get fit. Why does that matter? So I feel confident. And why does that matter? So I can stop hiding in my clothes or something like that potentially. And why does that matter? So I feel like myself again. So I feel like, you know, a past version of myself that was really confident when I was younger or whatever it is. So that's just an example, but just try to think for yourselves. So spend 3 to 5 minutes on this. All good? All got something? Cool. I won't get you to read it out, but as long as you got something and it means something to you, then just keep thinking about that as we go through this. Cool. So if your goal doesn't change your life emotionally, then your brain won't prioritize it. So if, you know, we go back to like the surface level kind of goal setting, like I said before, that's not really going to tap into the emotional kind of side of you. Therefore, your brain's never going to really put that to the top of the priority list. It's always going to be down here somewhere. So everything else is going to take priority. And that's why most people kind of don't really do anything with their health and fitness, is because all they say is, you know, I want to get fitter and healthier, but that's just down here on the priority list in the brain. So this is why when we start to go into the emotional reasons, like, I want to fit better in my clothes because it improves my confidence, and then that means I can, you know, go into social occasions with, you know, better happiness and, you know, whatever it is. So if we start to think about those things a little bit better, then that's why we can stick at things better and we can really work hard towards it as well. So the next part of this is about the excitement of your goals. So we thought about the emotional reasons. They can generally be sometimes negative things in our brain, but we need to think about the exciting stuff as well. So this is called the hell yes goal filter, okay? So the hell yes goal checklist. First of all, busy adults don't have time to force motivation daily, so you've got to understand that. You're all busy, we can't force motivation. So you'll have probably heard me say before that, you know, we can't rely on willpower and motivation. It's all about routine, structure, and that's why we do what we do at Transform. So we use 3 filters instead, okay? So the first one is excitement. So would I be proud to become this person? So when you go back to thinking about who do I want to be, what's the identity of that person I want to be, you know, would I be proud to be that person? So you can be excited about that because it's something that you're working towards within yourself. And then we've got believability. So can I picture myself doing this imperfectly? So that's an important part. Can I picture myself doing this and also failing sometimes and recognizing that's okay, because we can't be perfect and we've got to understand that's okay. So you've got to kind of picture yourself being that person, but sometimes failing and being okay with that. And then 3, does it fit your life? So does this work with my actual schedule at the moment? Because if that doesn't work, then there's no point doing it, because you're just going to feel like you're failing constantly. So if we can get the excitement, if we can get that believability that you can do it, but sometimes fail, but also fit it in your life and make sure that it's actually going to work, then that's the framework that we've got to kind of work towards with these goals and, who you want to be. So if any score, so if you kind of rate that between 1 to 10, if anything is below 7, then you kind of need to adjust it. So when you start to think about goals, when you think about the excitement, the believability, does it fit your life, think about scoring it out of 10, and then if it's below 7, then it's maybe not going to work and you need to potentially change it. So we're going to write down your own hell yes checklist, okay? So if you go to page 2, and just remember your goal might not need to be impressive, doesn't need to be super impressive, but it should be inevitable so that you can achieve it, okay? So have a think about that for a few minutes. So now we're going to go into the 2026 progress map. So we're going to focus on nutrition and training to start with. So we've done a bit of mindset and all that kind of stuff, but we're going to go into a little bit more finer detail on how you can get more out of your training and your nutrition. So part A is the training focus. So why we train and why at Transform we train smarter and not harder. Okay, so there's reasons behind all the training schedules and all the sessions and the way we do things. It's not to get a huge sweat on, it's not to absolutely kill yourself, even though sometimes it might feel like it. But it's smart training, it's not hard. Like there will be a lot of places out there that is just continuous circuits. All our, you're just going and going and going and you're wearing yourself out. But that's not the thing that we want to achieve. We do have our training blocks and different intensities for a reason. I know that third one's the most challenging one, but the other blocks are there for reasons, okay? So we train to get stronger, build lean muscle tissue, improve metabolic rate, get fitter, and improve mobility. It's not to burn calories. So a lot of people think we exercise to burn calories, but that's not the main reason why we do it. And I'll explain why. So on average, the calories you burn in a 60-minute resistance training, gym session that we do is generally between 200 to 400 calories, okay? 4 digested biscuits is 300 calories, okay? The reason I'm telling you that is because if we think about training about just burning calories, which a lot of people can do, you look at your watch and you count your calories, realistically it's not doing much in terms of the food that you're actually consuming, okay? The average calories burned in a 16-hour day is between 1,300 to 2,000, depending on your body type, your height, your weight, your age. So the main calorie burn that we actually do is throughout our day. So if we walk in more, if we move in more, or whether we're sedentary and stuck behind a desk. So that makes much more of an impact between the calories that you burn throughout your day than training ever will. Okay, it has a bit of an effect, it does contribute to it, so it's part of the equation. But going back, that's the reason why we train, okay? It's to get better strength, it's to build more lean muscle tissue in your body, it's to improve your metabolic rate so you burn calories more efficiently anyway, and then it's to get fitter, improve your mobility, all those reasons, okay? So the reason I say that is because when we train, there's certain things that we can do to improve all of those things, and burning calories and getting a sweat on isn't really one of the main focuses that we need to be doing, okay? So instead of focusing on, just working up a sweat and trying to, get a sweat on and get our heart rate up, we need to think about the intent of exercise execution. So the actual exercises that we're doing, how we performing them in a better way, because then we're going to get more out of it. Completing full range of motion. So instead of squatting halfway down really fast and just trying to get through the reps, actually getting deep into the squat as far as you can. Mind to muscle connection, so thinking about the muscle that you're actually using. So a lot of the times we'll just lift a weight from A to B and kind of swing our body around sometimes, but if you're actually controlling it and thinking about the muscles that you're using, then you just get so much more out of your hour of workout, okay? So these are just things to think about, because we don't really think about them when we train. We're just trying to get through the reps, get through the exercises, get through the session. But if we can really focus on them, then we're going to get a lot more out of it. And a year journey could then condense into 3 months of progress if you focus on these things. And trust me, I've worked on it and it's made a lot of difference to my training over the years. So that's the training side of things, and then we've got the nutrition side of things as well. So we've got the thing called the 3 anchors method. So anchor 1 is protein. So you'll have heard me talk about this in the other weeks. So protein at every meal really helps to support everything that we do in terms of building, retaining muscle and health. Anchor 2, plants and fibre. So you can aim for 1 fist of plants at most meals. So healthy vegetables, obviously we need that in our diet. And anchor 3 is like portion awareness. So just keeping your plate size small and stopping when you feel 80% full. So that's one thing a lot of people can struggle with, is just portion sizing. You know, you might be eating pretty healthily and okay, but sometimes it's just the portion sizes that are putting you in a calorie surplus, and that's why you gain weight. So they're 3 pretty simple tips for you, but moving on to nutrition a little bit more. So your nutrition doesn't need more rules, it just needs less decisions. That's what a lot of people get stuck with. It's just thinking about too much. If you just simplify it, make it nice and easy, your days just become a lot more easier, basically. My diet, and it always has been, is just very basic and simple, because it's just automatic and it's just easy to focus on. So these are just ideas, but have a default that you can just go to. So you've always got a default decision to go to, you know, when you've not got the food shopping, or you know, you've got some really busy day or something like that. So Greek yogurt with berries, you can always have that in the fridge, nice and easy. Lunch, spinach omelette, gets your protein in, it gets your vegetables in, nice and easy to cook. Dinner, salmon with sweet potatoes, something along those lines, some kind of meat, fish, chicken, and then yeah, your vegetables alongside that. Snack default, protein shake, nice and easy, nice and quick, gets your protein in there. Simple really when you think about it, innit? But we always overcomplicate diet sometimes. So obviously there's the other side of things where you get temptation as well. So there's crisps, chocolate, biscuits and that type of stuff. But that comes back to you know, decision making, and you know, we've talked about that on other weeks as well, and how you can start to kind of create a better environment by not having that stuff in your cupboards and that type of stuff. But on a whole, there's a nice easy way to kind of structure your diet. So I want you to build your default day. So what meals can you go to as a default so that you can stay on track even when you're busy, even when you're stressed, even when you've not gone to the food shop for a while? Write them down. So next we're going to dip into the mindset stuff a little bit more. So we've got the consistency myth. So the truth about motivation, and you've probably heard me talk about this before as well, but motivation isn't a personality trait, it's a response to evidence, okay? So confidence comes just after the reps. So you build confidence after doing things, don't you? It's like me talking up here. I would never have imagined me ever talking in front of people, and we did that event last year, and yeah, like I wouldn't have thought I'd ever would have done that. So yeah, confidence comes after reps, and it's the same with building your diet or training or whatever it is. You've just got to do the reps. So the busy life reality framework. So you're not failing, you're just in phase 2. So we'll go through these different phases. So phase 1, you're motivated. That's generally when you're first starting, you know, a new journey or a process. You're nice and motivated, you're starting something new, you're all excited because you've got these goals to achieve, and you know, you're doing something different. And then you've got phase 2 where you're busy, you're tired, life happens, you're going through the motions a little bit. And then we've got phase 3 where your identity then locks in. So you're actually changing your identity, and we're actually still working hard through that phase 2 phase. So the winners are the ones who still train, still eat well, and still do the work, even during that phase 2. Okay? So we're all going to be, you know, motivated at times. You know, we're all going to feel motivation when we're feeling good, when we've got high energy, when, you know, stress is low in general life. But that's not going to happen often. It's not going to happen all the time for sure. So phase 2 is generally, where we're going to be a lot of the time. We're going to be busy, we're going to be tired, and life's going to happen. But we still need to focus on our structure and the routine that we have and being prepared and planning, and that helps with everything. And then that's where our identity locks in. So this is the person that we're going to become, and we're going to continue to become in the future. Okay. So we're going to do some if-then planning now. So like I say, we're all going to have busy lives. We're all going to have things that come up. So I want you to write 2 personal scripts. So if I have a stressful day, then I do this. If I miss a session, then I will, instead of quitting. So some examples for that. So if I have a stressful day, then I will still follow my meal plans and not comfort eat. If I miss a session, then I'll still go for a quick walk to keep on moving. So the goal isn't to just never fall off, it's to build a system that makes getting back on automatic. Okay? So have a look at those 2 scripts and write something that you feel you need to do. Cool, okay guys. So habit design, so another topic here, so the 4 levers that actually work around habits. So habits stick when they're small enough to start, easy to repeat, rewarded quickly, and tied to an identity as well, always tied to an identity. So, if we're going to try and change this bad habit, then we need to kind of focus on these areas. So we need to make it small enough to start. So can we, reduce that amount and make sure it's not, did you say 7 bars? Yeah. Can we bring that down to a smaller amount to start with? Can we slowly reduce that over time? And then them sugar cravings will come less. Is it easy to repeat? So can you focus on that every week? Can you continue to reduce that week by week? And can you reward that quickly? So can you mentally reward yourself for reducing that? Can you set yourself a target, each month to keep this amount down and down and down and reward yourself? And then tie that to your identity. So all that work you've been doing around who do I want to become in the future, think about that and the reasons why you're doing it. So the 4 levers. Number 1, make it obvious. So if you're working on a goal, make it obvious. So if you're trying to go to the gym, get gym clothes out, make sure they're ready. Make protein visible, so make sure that your cupboards are filled with things that are going to be beneficial for you. Get everything in your calendar booked, so sessions booked, weekend meal prep, book it in your diary, actually write it down, if you've got like a schedule that you keep for the things that you do, your appointments, put that in there, put in, right, I've got an hour's meal prep on Sunday at 12 p.m, that's when I do it. It's going to force yourself to do it. Same with training, you all book your sessions in, get yourself accountable all the time. Number 2, make it easy. So you've got a minimum workout option. So, let's say 2 sessions a week is my minimum, 3 sessions a week is my minimum, whatever it is for you. Write that down, stick it on your fridge, put it on your phone screensaver or whatever it is, make it visible. 2 meal protein rule, so always make sure there's at least 2 meals in your day that has protein in it, at least. Every meal should be protein full, but at least 2. Water bottle on show, so are you hydrating enough, are you drinking enough water? Have a water bottle by your side, count how many you're having through your day. Number 3, make it satisfying, going back to your point, Angela, about achieving things, like actually reward yourself and record yourself as well. So track streaks. So for Jay, you've just gone 3 weeks without any kinder. Write it down, tick it off on the calendar or something like that, put a check mark next to it. If you've gone 90 days without having any, oh no, we're not liking alcohol anonymous or something like that, but write it down. Don't done list, not to-do list. So actually tick off what you've done, not what you're going to be doing. You know, actually have some achievements that you're actually ticking off. And then, yeah, make it personal. So not I should, but I'm becoming someone who. Yeah, so always think about I'm becoming someone who is going to be doing this. So page 5. We're going to do some habit drafting. So I just want you to choose one. So habit A, we've got nutrition. So for example, protein at breakfast every day. Habit B, we've got movement. So 10k steps 5 times a week. Habit C, we've got mindset. So morning journaling 3 times a week. And then write, you know, my habit is, my trigger is after I whatever, I will, blah, blah, blah. And then my tiny version, so if I can't do it fully, I'll do this. Okay, so it's like a backup plan just in case you can't do the full thing. So yeah, spend a few minutes writing those down. So cool, we're nearly getting to the end, guys. So goals don't work when they live in your head. They work when they live in your calendar. Yeah. So write things down, get it down on paper. You know, put it in your schedule. Make sure that you're actually documenting it, because if it just stays up here, sometimes it just stays up there, and you don't actually act on it. Okay. So the last thing I want you to do, page 6, to finish off this session. I want you to write down, in 2026, I am becoming someone who. What's the most important thing for you to become this year? Awesome, guys. Well, yeah, that's it. So next one is 31st of March. So it's, yeah, last Tuesday of every month. So get booked in again. Something a little bit different every time, but down the similar lines as we always do on the mindset stuff. So yeah, thanks for coming.